Well, you know, the catchphrase, what that was all about, the revolution will not be televised, that was about the fact that the first change that takes place is in your mind. You have to change your mind before you change the way you live and the way you move. So when we said that the revolution will not be televised, we were saying that, like, that the thing that's going to change people is something that no one will ever be able to capture on film. It'll just be something that you see, and all of a sudden you realize, I'm on the wrong page, or I'm on the right page, but I'm on the wrong note. And I've got to get in sync with everyone else to understand what's happening in this country.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, we are standing at the front steps of a revolution in the midst of the largest civil rights movement of all of world history. America is in anarchy. Exasperated protests driven by centuries of torture have spread like wildfire across the country and the continent and the globe. And while the overwhelming majority of protesters are peaceful and heartfelt and drawing from a place of legitimate pain, there are also opportunistic parasites that have obscured the march for justice and detracted from the cause.
Now it is up to every one of us to illuminate the discrimination that exists in this land of equal opportunity. They say let those in glass houses cast the first stone. So let's catalyze change by holding the mirror up for ourselves. How are we propagating inequality? Are we even aware of the culturally dogmatic thinking that has seated itself within us?
Nelson Mandela spoke life into mankind when he said, "No one is born hating another person because of their skin, their background, or their religion. One must learn to hate." And that's precisely what's happened. Do you remember when we couldn't leave our homes with hoodies for fear of prejudice? Or when every head would turn at the sight of a religious garb at an airport? Were those random security checks really random?
Were you as a child ever told their skin was dirty, or that your father was a terrorist? Does your family know your young heart was forced to experience this cruelty at the hands of strangers? Do they know the psychological impact it had and continues to have on you? Did you or your elders have your degrees and accolades stripped from you when you immigrated to the so-called land of opportunity? How many of these opportunities have been passed over you to your non-minority group counterparts? How many times was lighter skin, smoother hair made a standard for achievement when pigment and texture has no bearing on your value as a human being?
After 9/11, millions of Muslims were subjugated to racial profiling and violence, some resorting to changing their names and relinquishing religious identifiers only for the fear of their lives. South Asians and Middle Easterners have rarely been regarded the same since. Attacks on Sikh temples have taken place globally, east of Kabul, west of Wisconsin. People of color are pulled over on the streets of affluent neighborhoods in cars we are told we could not possibly afford because we are not meant to belong there by certain judgments.
We recollect these instances not to prompt trauma, but to say, having experienced life in this way, we absolutely cannot be complicit in a system of color, supremacy, and institutionalized racism against anyone, but today especially against our Black brothers and sisters. We understand it is in generations of experiences with oppression and reinforced stigmas fed to us that have brought about these instinctual reactions today. But if we don't halt the inertia of our behavior now, this will never end.
How can we, having been degraded with words, allow ourselves to be silent when they're used against others? How can we feel at ease using a certain 6-letter slur when we were so uncomfortable when it was shouted at us? Who are we to turn our noses up at God-given melanin as if there was any choice in this matter, when our own skin color has been used as a disadvantage against us in our countries ravaged with acid burn victims?
How can we make the colour of one's skin a variable when choosing a spouse? When did inner character, mutual respect and love become eclipsed by the shade of one's shell, as if that shell has ever guaranteed companionship and wedded bliss? Weren't there hundreds and thousands of lives lost of years of hostility between and within our countries? So how can we turn a blind eye to police brutality, systemic oppression, savage murders and unrightful incarceration of the Black community, as it happens every single day before us? Worst of all, it happens in no small part because of the prejudices we inspire in our own homes.
This generation dresses and behaves in the complete appropriation of Black culture rather than their own, and yet they still do not show the same pride or give any type of justification to the people who originated it. Our elders clench on to all their belongings so much more tighter when they're in close proximity of crossing a Black man. Why so, when so much dishonesty and self-serving behavior runs rampant in our own homes, just like so many others in America? We stereotype an entire race by saying he's Black, as if being Black should carry a negative connotation to it, as if we have to avoid it at all costs. Why do we do this? Is it out of fear? Is there any justification to this? Or is it simply that we are walking with no legs to stand on? And by doing so, we are impacting the young, impressionable minds of our youth as well as one another.
Every single right and freedom that we reap the benefits of in America today is a free gift to us from the African American activists who fought so hard for basic privileges in the civil rights era. And yet, discrimination towards them still exists. So we have all encountered suffering in some way, shape, or form in all our lives, right? But why is it that we as a race don't feel the same fear in our country and our homes as they do? So even if we haven't opened our eyes to the injustice, colorism in our communities continues to exist, and it will continue to exist until we put a stop to it.
After we have processed these changes ourselves, it is a heavy undertaking to have the courage to educate our parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, as well as community leaders. But remember that we only embody what we have been taught to believe. And what we can learn to believe, we can learn not to believe. Therefore, under the responsibility to nurture their outlooks with grace and kindness, but do so nonetheless. And for however long it takes to create palpable change, we have to use our privilege to abolish the perceived hierarchy.
It is our responsibility to cast aside the borders between races that we created and accept everyone as just a part of the human race. It is up to us to condemn ignorance and show solidarity in dismantling the scaffolds that hold this old mentality together so that we can bring about systemic change on a global scale, if not for the mass community of people experiencing immeasurable suffering today, but then at least for the children of generations to come so that they can coexist in peace and safety in a way that was never afforded to us.
If we do not stand true to what is fair and just, we are just as oppressive as the oppressors of our history. And we've learned nothing from the segregation and sacrifice our ancestors endured. If we do not hold wrongful parties accountable, we permit and in fact encourage eventual suffering. And if we hope to project change to the global scale, we must first show this bravery in our hearts and in our homes. It's time to stand with our fellow Black brothers and sisters and make it clear that Black lives matter.
My name is Onyeka Olisemeka, and I am tired. I'm tired of being told I don't sound Black or being commended on my excellent pronunciation. I'm tired of being asked to show ID because I don't look like I can afford to live in my own neighborhood. I am tired of having to smile and bite my tongue when my patients tell me I don't look like I should be the doctor and I look like I should be mopping the floor instead. I'm tired of seeing innocent lives being wasted because of systemic oppression. I am tired of the temporary outrage when an innocent Black life is taken. I am tired because I don't feel seen or heard. Like my cries and the cries of other Black people don't matter. Like our anger and outrage over how we're being treated doesn't matter. Like our lives don't matter. All lives matter, yes, but for this to be true, we have to work together to make sure that Black lives aren't being treated like they don't.
My name is Yaitza, and I deserve to feel safe.
My name is Ashraf Ahmed, and I deserve the same rights as you, as my neighbors, as anybody else in this world.
My name is Helen Zidon. I want to have the same rights as everyone else.
My name is Byron, Kumbula, and this is Mason. We want to feel safe and protected. We shouldn't be afraid of the police.
Hi, my name is Dejha. I am a mom, entrepreneur, and I am a 2020 graduate, and my life matters.
I'm Daniel Sierra.
And I'm Joel Sierra.
And our lives matter.
My life matters.
My life matters.
My life matters.
My life matters.
My life and his life matters.